Welcome to the University of Chicago Career Advancement. This video suggests ways that you can improve presenting in front of others. Whether you're addressing a few others, a classroom, or a large audience, you can learn to communicate effectively with others. According to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. Death is number two. Does that sound right? This means to the average person, if you go to a funeral, you're better off in the casket than doing the eulogy. Jerry Seinfeld makes this observation, and I'm not sure if it sounds right to you, but sometimes it feels that way to me. During this presentation, we'll discuss goals, common speaking challenges, and public speaking tips, and we'll wrap up by sharing a speaking activity that you can try on your own. No matter what you do in your professional career, you will likely be in a position where you will be speaking to groups of people or giving presentations. It's a valuable skill to learn, and it will be extremely helpful in your career and in interviews. Three main goals I hope you take away from the session are to gain an understanding of common challenges and mistakes in public speaking, to understand how to effectively create and deliver presentations, and to learn tips for being an effective and engaging public speaker. Examples of professional presentations include presenting findings to clients on a consulting project, pitching a business idea to potential investors, presenting an opening or closing argument in court, defending your thesis or dissertation, presenting research at a conference or event, or participating in a panel or even a virtual call. If you've created and given a presentation before, think of some of the challenges you faced. Here are some of the most common professional presentation and public speaking mistakes. 1. Being nervous. Since public speaking is the number one fear, many people become impeded by nervousness. It can not only affect the way you appear to the audience, but it can be detrimental as you try and communicate the information you're trying to get across. Nervousness can come across in your tone of voice, body language, and words. Having a weak or unclear main message when the audience isn't clear on what the main point of the presentation is. Keep the audience in mind when you're presenting. By failing to engage the audience, having a lack of passion or excitement about the topic. Lack of preparation. When the presenter doesn't know the topic or hasn't practiced and is unable to answer questions, unprepared speakers become fairly obvious to the audience and can make the presenter come across as unprofessional or uncaring. Having too much information. If the presentation is oversaturated with information, the most relevant and important pieces won't be as impactful. They will get lost in the clutter. Having disorganized content. When the topic isn't clarified or jumps around, it's difficult to follow. Having an unprofessional appearance or behavior. This could be having visual aids which are not appropriate, or using inappropriate humor, inappropriate dress, and starting and ending a presentation late. When you have too much reliance on visual aids, remember you are the presentation. Don't read off the slides, let them enhance and add value to your words. And technical malfunctions. It can be embarrassing and come across as unprepared and throw your confidence. It might even ruin your presentation if you plan to use a video or show graphs. A well-known study done by Albert Mehrabian in 1967 found there are three different elements of any face-to-face communication. Verbal, the words that are actually said or written. Vocal, the tone of voice, pitch, volume, quality, and speed. And visual, facial expression, body language, and movement. This study examined how important and impactful each of these were to the viewer. Take a guess at how important each of these components were. Ultimately, this study showed that the presenter's visual presentation had 55% of the impact on the viewer. Next, the presenter's vocal tone had a strong impact with 38%. But note that the actual verbal content was only 7% of the presentation's impact. In addition to knowing your topic and your audience, keep focused on the big picture. Avoid getting too detailed. Your audience should come away with the presentation understanding the main ideas and why it's important or how it affects them. Along these same lines, include only necessary information. Organize your content to omit anything irrelevant that doesn't pertain to the audience. In a professional setting, your audience will be busy and interested in the most relevant or important information. You'll lose your audience when you include irrelevant information or things that are off topic. Use data or visuals to support your message. That's always helpful. And also make sure that you have your content organized so that it flows naturally and makes sense. Finally, your opening is key. It's important to start off right by engaging the audience and getting them excited about your presentation. Many people start presentations off with a hook, which is a catchy opening. Hooks can be a joke, an anecdote, a question to the audience, a definition, a demonstration, an example or case study, a metaphor, statistics, or a testimonial or quote. These hooks engage the audience and build a rapport. Make sure they're relevant and appropriate for your audience. Do you remember the hook that started this video? Now we'll give some tips on conveying a strong vocal presence. First, breathing is a huge component of public speaking and a key way to control nervousness. When speaking to an audience, you need more oxygen to project sound outward. Equally important, you have to unlearn the habit of breathing shallowly using your chest and shoulders. Many of the best public speakers are conscious of this and have learned to belly breathe. You do this by standing at ease and placing your dominant hand on your belly, taking a relaxed, medium deep breath. When you're breathing diaphragmatically, your belly should be expanding and contracting rather than your shoulders. When you get into the habit of belly breathing, you'll be giving yourself a full supply of oxygen and you'll automatically be more calm and focused. That means you'll have a more professional and capable presence. Vary your volume, your tone, and your pitch for effect and musicality. Speak low for serious moments and higher for excitement or humor. Using variety keeps the audience engaged and also sets a tone for your message. Speaking too slowly or too fast can be distracting, and you may have difficulty holding the audience's attention. Speaking too quickly is often a result of poor breathing, and speaking too slowly will lose your audience's attention. Find a happy medium. And don't be afraid to pause for effect. This can be impactful, particularly when you're making an important point. Visual. Since this is the component of public speaking that makes the most impact on your audience, it's important to be intentional and aware of your body language, facial expressions, and movement. Make eye contact with different people throughout the room. This makes a big impact on the audience, and there's nothing worse than someone who speaks while only looking down at their notes. Be aware of your facial expressions and remember to smile. This goes a long way with your audience and helps you relax as well. Be cognizant of your gestures. Think about what you're doing with your hands and develop a go-to resting position. Using your hands to gesture is not a bad thing, and it can help add impact to your message. But be careful of using too much movement, which can be distracting. Posture is also important. Slouching over can make you appear less confident. Whether you're standing or sitting while presenting, use a tall posture. And your appearance, dress for success. You'll be taken more seriously if you're dressed professionally, especially if you're dressed in something you feel confident in. Of course, you'll feel nervous. Everyone gets nervous. Nervousness means that you care and that you're interested in what you're doing, and it can be a motivator. But beware of any nervous mannerisms, like playing with your hair, using filler words, or fiddling with pens. Pay attention to your own behaviors and be conscious to try and avoid awkward things that will disrupt from your presentation. Here are some additional tips for delivering a successful presentation. Using visual aids can be effective and helpful for an audience, but make sure they're professional and relevant. Let your passion and excitement shine through. It's impactful on the audience. And in overcoming nerves, keep your focus on your message rather than the audience or on the medium that you're sending. And then, finally, practice. There's no substitute. Practice out loud, in front of people or a mirror. Use Big Interview or even your phone to record yourself and listen and watch yourself. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll feel. There is no such thing as over-rehearsing. Practicing helps alleviate the nervousness you may feel. Studies show that you need to practice 6 times in order to feel confident and ready. There are many ways to deliver an oral presentation. Learn to do what gives you the most self-confidence so that you will effectively communicate your content. And finally, try to avoid powerless language like filler words, you know, qualifiers, kinda, sorta, maybe, and intensifiers, really, literally, very, and tag questions, right? What do you think? These are distracting to the audience and can pull attention away from your content. Filler words can be a sign of nervousness, but can be ingrained in your daily conversation and may be difficult to shake, even during a speech. There are 2 places where filler words commonly appear, at the beginning of a statement and between ideas. See what happens next time you answer a question. You might say or right away without even thinking. Then when you're finished, you may be tempted to use another filler word to decide what you're going to say next. When you use a filler word like you're thinking verbally. In other words, you're verbalizing your thought process. But if you pause, then you are not speaking and you can't say Next time you're asked a question, take a couple of sentences to think about what you're going to say. The pause serves 2 important purposes. It helps you begin powerfully, and it helps you avoid using a filler word. Pause, think, answer. The same public speaking techniques apply when you're transitioning from one idea to another. While you may be tempted to fill the silence between ideas with a filler word, remember to pause and give yourself a moment to think about what you want to say next. Remember, pause, think, answer. And another way to eliminate filler words or powerless words is to figure out what your most common words or phrases are. The next time you're preparing for a speech, record yourself and play it back. Watch if you say, you know, all the time. You could ask a friend to pay attention to your filler words in everyday conversation and point them out. Once you've been made aware of your weaknesses in this area, you'll become very conscious of using them in presentations. Keeping these things in mind, try this activity at home. Speak for approximately 2 minutes about a topic you know well. Consider talking about your family, a favorite trip or vacation, one of your hobbies or interests, the town or city you're from, but beware of your filler words. Finally, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Career Advancement. We are always happy to help. Have a great day.